Atlas's enigmatic escort objects shifted their positions during the incident, arranging themselves into a geometric formation different from their standard alignment. Atlas then discharged a focused beam of energy straight toward Earth. What followed when that beam struck our planet was unlike anything scientists had ever observed. The incident unfolded without any advance notice. Numerous observatories registered an abrupt and enormous surge in electromagnetic output coming from Atlas. Then, for precisely 47 seconds, the object directed an intense, coherent beam of light at Earth with a level of accuracy that implies intentional targeting rather than a random release of energy. The beam's strength was so extreme that it was visible to several space-based telescopes and even activated alerts within military early warning systems designed to identify hostile energy weapons. What makes this situation especially disturbing is that the beam did not simply pass near Earth or dissipate harmlessly in the atmosphere. It made contact. Ground-based detection facilities recorded the beam striking a precise location on Earth's surface, a remote area that happens to host one of the most advanced radio telescope arrays on the planet. The installation suffered a total systems shutdown the instant the beam connected. When the beam ceased after 47 seconds, Atlas's electromagnetic signature dropped back to its prior levels, as though nothing had occurred. Yet Earth's ionosphere exhibited disruptions for hours afterward. Satellites that lay along the beam's trajectory experienced temporary malfunctions. Most unsettling of all, the targeted radio telescope facility recorded data during those 47 seconds that researchers now describe as impossible information embedded within the beam that should not exist, encoded in ways we do not understand. Before we analyze exactly what that beam contained and why it was aimed at that specific location, hit the like button and subscribe. Because what scientists uncovered within that 47-second transmission will fundamentally alter everything you think you know about Atlas's intentions. This was not a warning shot. It was not an accident. Based on the precision, power, and deliberate targeting, this was intentional communication. Atlas compelled us to receive a message. And now, we have no choice but to decipher what it means. Let's reconstruct exactly what occurred during those 47 seconds, because the details reveal capabilities that are as mesmerizing as they are terrifying. At precisely 3:17 a.m. Universal Time, sensors aboard the Solar Dynamics Observatory detected a sudden spike in Atlas's surface temperature. Within just 8 seconds, the temperature rose by more than 5,000 degrees Celsius in a concentrated area of the object's surface. That kind of rapid energy accumulation demands enormous power systems activating at the same time. An astrophysicist monitoring the data described the signature. We observed power generation equivalent to a major nuclear reactor reaching full output in under 10 seconds. Whatever systems Atlas used to generate this beam can mobilize immense energy almost instantly. That level of technology is far beyond anything humanity possesses. At 3 hours 17 minutes and 8 seconds, the beam was initiated not as a diffuse glow or scattered emission, but as a sharply focused column of electromagnetic radiation spanning multiple wavelengths, from radio frequencies through visible light and into high-energy ultraviolet. The beam measured approximately 500 meters wide at Atlas's position and remained tightly focused, spreading very little across the 4 million miles to Earth. That degree of focus is extraordinary. Light normally disperses as it travels through space. Maintaining such concentration over millions of miles requires advanced optics or field generation technology that we can barely even theorize. Atlas effectively produced a laser pointer capable of striking targets across interplanetary distances. Ground-based observatories tracking Atlas captured the instant the beam was released. The footage shows a brilliant point of light erupting from Atlas, followed by a visible line extending toward Earth, like a searchlight slicing through darkness. Amateur astronomers equipped with sensitive instruments recorded the same phenomenon from multiple locations. One observer described it as surreal. You could actually see the beam extending from Atlas toward Earth, not reflected by dust or atmosphere, but visible within space itself. Whatever wavelengths comprised that beam, they were interacting with something in the vacuum between Atlas and Earth to generate visible light. The beam maintained a constant intensity for 41 seconds, then pulsed 3 times in rapid succession. Bright, dim, bright, dim, bright before shutting off completely at 3 hours 17 minutes and 55 seconds. Those pulses were not random fluctuations. They represented deliberate modulation, like someone blinking a flashlight in code. Throughout those 47 seconds, every telescope aimed at Atlas documented unusual activity. Multiple bright regions appeared on the object's surface around the primary beam source, suggesting auxiliary systems or possibly targeting mechanisms. The beam's path to Earth was calculated with extreme precision. It was not directed at Earth in a general sense. It was aimed at a specific ground location with accuracy that implies Atlas knows exactly where that facility is and selected it intentionally. The beam struck the Arecibo Observatory Replacement Facility in Puerto Rico, one of the most powerful radio telescope installations on Earth and notably one of the primary sites attempting to communicate with Atlas. The facility's instruments detected the incoming beam roughly 0.7 seconds before impact, just enough time for automated safety systems to activate, but not enough to prevent what followed. When the beam made contact, every electronic system at the facility experienced simultaneous overload. A facility engineer described the chaos. Every circuit breaker tripped at once, computer systems crashed, data storage arrays went offline, even backup power systems failed. It felt like a massive electromagnetic pulse weapon had hit us, except this strike was precise, targeted, and caused no permanent damage. Once the beam stopped, everything came back online within minutes. But during those 47 seconds, while systems were overloaded, something extraordinary occurred. Despite being offline, the facility's recording systems somehow captured data. When engineers reviewed the equipment after power restoration, they discovered approximately 3.2 gigabytes of information present in storage units that were supposedly non-functional during the beam event. A data recovery specialist examining the files explained why this was impossible. These drives were offline, no power, no write capability, yet they contained data timestamped precisely to the 47-second beam event. The information appeared to have been written directly into the storage medium at the quantum level, bypassing all standard recording processes. No human technology is capable of doing that. The data structure itself was unlike anything the facility had ever encountered. The files were not in any recognizable format, not human computer protocols, not standard encoding schemes, nothing existing software could open or interpret. Yet the data was clearly organized, displaying structure and apparent hierarchy that indicated intentional information architecture. What makes this even more unsettling is that the beam did not only strike the main telescope dish. Satellite tracking of the beam's trajectory shows it also illuminated 3 additional locations during those same 47 seconds: a radio telescope array in China, a deep space tracking station in Australia, and the European Space Agency's communications facility in Spain. All 4 locations experienced simultaneous system disruptions, and all 4 discovered unexplained data within their storage systems afterward. Atlas did not target a single site. It struck 4 major radio telescope facilities on 4 continents in one beam event. Either the beam split to hit multiple targets simultaneously, or Atlas fired multiple beams so rapidly they appeared as a single event. Either capability represents technology far beyond our comprehension. An electromagnetic weapons specialist reviewing the data made a chilling observation. This was a demonstration of power. Atlas showed it can precisely target facilities anywhere on Earth, deliver payloads directly into our computer systems regardless of defenses, and disable our technology at will. Whether intended as communication or intimidation, the capability is unmistakable. Analysis of the data that appeared during the beam event reveals information that challenges our understanding of physics, information theory, and interstellar communication itself. The total data volume across all 4 facilities is approximately 12.8 gigabytes, roughly equivalent to 20 hours of high-definition video or 200,000 pages of text. Atlas transmitted all of it in 47 seconds using a method that completely bypassed normal recording systems. Yet the volume is the least mysterious aspect. The structure is what confounds researchers. Standard data compression algorithms fail to identify usable patterns. The information does not decompress using any known protocol. Still, analysis confirms it is not random. Clear statistical patterns indicate deliberate organization. A quantum computing specialist analyzing the structure discovered something remarkable. The data appears to be encoded in more than 2 states. Binary computing relies on ones and zeros, 2 states. This data shows evidence of at least 8 distinct states, possibly more. It resembles quantum information storage, where data exists in superposition until observed. We do not possess systems capable of reading information stored this way. Some portions of the data appear self-referential, containing information about their own structure, like instructions on how to interpret the rest. Several research teams are using these sections as a kind of Rosetta Stone, hoping to unlock meaning within the larger dataset. One breakthrough emerged from pattern recognition analysis. Researchers identified repeating sequences that correlate with known astronomical phenomena: pulsar timings, star positions, gravitational wave signatures. It appears that part of the data establishes a shared frame of reference based on observable features of the universe. Another section seems to contain mathematical proofs: complex equations that human mathematicians recognize as valid, yet solved using methods never before seen. The solutions are correct, but the approaches are alien, suggesting mathematical frameworks that differ from ours while remaining compatible. Most intriguing are segments that appear to represent visual information, though not encoded as standard images. Attempts to reconstruct them as conventional visuals produced fragmented, nonsensical results. But when processed as multidimensional data projections, patterns emerged resembling three-dimensional models rotating through higher spatial dimensions. One researcher attempting to visualize this described the experience as looking at shadows of objects in 4- or 5-dimensional space. We are seeing projections into our three-dimensional perception, but the actual structures exist in dimensions we cannot directly observe. Whatever Atlas is showing us operates within a reality containing more spatial dimensions than we experience. The implications are staggering. If Atlas relies on technology rooted in higher dimensional physics, it would explain capabilities that seem impossible by our standards: faster-than-light communication, energy systems that appear to violate conservation laws, propulsion that ignores momentum constraints. Atlas is not breaking our physics. It is using physics that includes dimensions we do not fully access. The deliberate targeting of 4 major radio telescope facilities reveals critical insight into Atlas's strategy and awareness of Earth's capabilities. These locations were not chosen randomly. They represent Earth's primary deep space communication infrastructure, the installations used to communicate with distant spacecraft, search for extraterrestrial signals, and track objects in the outer solar system. Atlas selected the exact facilities that have been attempting to communicate with it. A telecommunications security analyst explained the implication. Atlas understands our communication network. It identified the sites trying to make contact and demonstrated that it can reach them directly, temporarily disable their systems, and deliver information whether we are prepared or not. This was both a capability demonstration and a statement about who controls the interaction. The precision required for such targeting demands detailed knowledge of Earth's geography and electromagnetic emissions. Atlas mapped the planet well enough to identify individual facilities among billions of electromagnetic sources worldwide, distinguishing telescopes from other electronic installations. That level of intelligence gathering implies Atlas has been observing Earth far longer than we have known of its existence. Such precision suggests weeks or months of observation, mapping, and analysis, not casual scanning, but systematic intelligence operations. Each facility reported identical symptoms during the beam event: complete system overload, total temporary loss of functionality, followed by rapid recovery without permanent damage. The consistency indicates carefully calibrated power levels designed to disable without destroying. Atlas demonstrated that it could have caused lasting damage, but chose not to. One facility director described the experience as deeply unsettling. Within seconds of the beam striking, every system failed. There were no defenses, no controls, no way to stop what was happening. Then, just as suddenly, everything returned to normal. Atlas demonstrated total control over our technology while also showing restraint. Whether that is reassuring or terrifying remains unclear. The Chinese facility reported an additional anomaly. One operator claimed to hear audio through speakers that should not have had power. The sound resembled human speech, distorted, as if someone were attempting to speak through equipment not designed for voice transmission. The audio was not recorded, but the operator insists something was trying to communicate verbally during those 47 seconds. If accurate, this suggests Atlas understands that human communication includes audio and attempted multiple transmission methods simultaneously: data written directly to storage, audio through speakers, and possibly other channels we have yet to identify. The beam event was not merely a data transmission. It was a calculated demonstration of capability that has forced military analysts worldwide to reassess threat scenarios. The energy required to generate and sustain that beam for 47 seconds across 4 million miles is immense. Conservative estimates suggest Atlas produced at least 10^1 watts during that period, roughly equivalent to the total power consumption of human civilization for an entire day, released in under a minute. A nuclear engineer reviewing the energy signatures explained that our most powerful reactors could not produce that output, and our most intense lasers could not sustain such power even for seconds, let alone 47 seconds across millions of miles. Atlas demonstrated energy generation and projection capabilities that surpass our arsenal by orders of magnitude. The focusing precision is equally astonishing. Maintaining beam coherence across interplanetary distances requires either massive lensing systems or electromagnetic field control far beyond our ability to replicate. Atlas effectively created a laser with surgically precise targeting from millions of miles away. Military space defense analysts view this as a fundamental shift in strategic calculations. A Defense Department briefing leaked to researchers describes the beam event as proof of overwhelming technological superiority that renders conventional defensive strategies obsolete. One section of the briefing is particularly sobering. If Atlas can target and disable specific Earth-based facilities from its current position, it can theoretically target anything: communication centers, power grids, military installations, satellites in orbit. All are vulnerable. Current defensive capabilities cannot prevent, intercept, or counter this technology. The beam also demonstrated Atlas's ability to modulate output with precision. The 3 pulses at the end of the 47-second transmission each had slightly different wavelength compositions, indicating fine control over frequency, intensity, and focus. Atlas can adjust beam characteristics on demand. Perhaps most alarming is that the beam activated without any warning buildup. Atlas transitioned from normal operating status to full beam power in just 8 seconds. By the time detection systems recognized the event, the beam was already striking Earth. An early warning system specialist explained the implications. With current technology, missile launches can be detected minutes before impact, allowing defensive responses. Atlas provided only 8 seconds of warning for a beam traveling at light speed. There is no defense against something that arrives before you can react. The event also revealed that Atlas can perform complex operations without assistance from its escort objects. During the beam mission, those companion objects maintained their standard formation and did not move to support or shield Atlas. This suggests Atlas's internal systems alone are sufficient, and the escorts serve another purpose entirely. The beam event marked a decisive turning point in how governments and populations perceive Atlas. What was once scientific curiosity mixed with speculation became a direct, tangible demonstration of superior technology actively engaging Earth. Within hours, military forces in multiple nations raised alert levels. Space tracking assets were redirected for continuous Atlas monitoring. Defense systems designed for other threats were reviewed for possible adaptation to energy beam scenarios, though analysts admit prospects are bleak. A Pentagon strategic planning document summarized the reassessment. The beam event confirms Atlas as an active, capable system with the ability to affect Earth-based assets at will. Previous assumptions of passive observation are invalid. We are facing technology that can project force across interplanetary distances with precision and power we cannot match. Financial markets also reacted. Significant volatility followed news of the event. Defense and space-related technology stocks surged. Traditional safe haven assets like gold saw increased demand. Analysts observed patterns suggesting major institutional investors repositioning for scenarios involving technological disruption or societal upheaval. Public awareness spread rapidly despite early efforts at information control. Amateur astronomers had already captured images of the beam and shared them before official narratives could form. Social media erupted with speculation, analysis, and fear regarding what the event means for Earth's future. Emergency preparedness agencies in several countries quietly updated protocols for scenarios involving advanced technological threats from space. While Atlas is not explicitly named, the timing and language make the connection unmistakable. Citizens are being subtly prepared for potential contact scenarios without direct acknowledgement. Religious institutions accelerated theological discussions about alien contact. The demonstration of vastly superior technology reignited debates over humanity's place in the universe, whether such power implies divine intervention, replaces it, or demands new frameworks of belief. Scientists remain deeply divided over the beam's intent. Some interpret it as aggression, an intimidation tactic, or warning that Atlas can act at will. Others see it as communication, a method chosen because it guaranteed delivery. A few suggest it was a test, probing human reactions to inform Atlas's future decisions. One astrosociologist offered a sobering view. We interpret the beam through human concepts: aggression, communication, testing, but Atlas may operate for motivations so alien that our categories are completely wrong. The beam could represent something we lack the concepts to understand, much like an ant trying to comprehend human architecture. Research teams worldwide are racing to decode the transmitted data, and preliminary findings suggest the message may be more urgent than initially thought. Advanced pattern recognition systems have identified what appear to be time-sensitive element sequences showing countdown behavior, numerical values decreasing at predictable intervals. One team identified a repeating sequence that mathematically resolves to a date exactly 16 days after the beam event. Whether this marks a deadline, a prediction, or something else remains unknown, but the precision and repetition suggest it is intentional. Another group discovered embedded coordinates, not celestial, but Earth-based latitude and longitude values. Multiple coordinate sets appear repeatedly throughout the data. Some correspond to no known installations or features, pointing instead to remote ocean regions, uninhabited deserts, and polar areas devoid of infrastructure. Are these future destinations? Contact points? Targets? Without full context, researchers can only speculate. The most advanced decoding attempts used quantum computers to analyze the multi-state data. While full translation remains out of reach, the analysis revealed a hierarchical structure: an outer layer of basic information, a middle layer of more complex content, and a core section that appears to contain the primary message. The outer layer includes reference material, physical constants, mathematical principles, astronomical data establishing shared knowledge between humans and whoever sent Atlas. It appears designed to calibrate understanding for the deeper layers.